Is it fair to say that change is unavoidable? Well, in 2025, we have some big changes coming to California on the Central Coast, and we're going to get to it right now. So the first item that's coming up that's a big change in 2025 here on the Central Coast is that we are becoming more ADU friendly. ADU stands for Accessory Dwelling Unit. That's like a second home on the property, or a conversion in your garage, a junior ADU. There's different versions of what an ADU can be on the property. So by January 2025, all California cities and municipalities must have pre-approved ADU designs available for homeowners. I mean, that is going to be fantastic. In addition to that, it's going to speed up the process and it's going to save you some money, because if you use what the cities are offering as your plans, it's going to be a lot smoother transaction for you and for your family and for the things that you're trying to accomplish, for your property. The second really exciting thing that's coming up with the ADUs is that you don't have to be living on the property to rent out both the main house and the accessory dwelling unit. Now, there might be an ordinance on your particular lot that might prohibit this, but in general, now that has become a new item as well, is that you do not need to reside in the property to rent out both the ADU and the primary residence that you were in as you were building that ADU. You've literally accomplished two properties on one lot that'll bring you that kind of income for two properties. And as we know, rents in California are up there, so you have a great opportunity to maximize your profit on a property. So another thing that's really fantastic about the new laws that are rolling out in 2024 and specifically in 2025 as well is that the big changes are there's going to be flexibility on setbacks, height for the properties that you're building on. So that's going to also impact your flexibility on architectural design. They're not going to implement any crazy homeowners association regulations on the properties as well. So all of this just really helps our shortage of housing, not only in California, but specifically on the Central Coast. If you're looking for towns that offer this in San Luis Obispo County in particular, Grover Beach is very, very innovative in this arena. Also, San Luis Obispo proper, a lot of people there, because it's a college town with Cal Poly, people can convert their garages. There can be more rooms built in a bigger property and have some more housing, which isn't necessarily an ADU. So with all this flexibility and just the easiness of the future build that you can do, this is really going to impact the opportunity for your investment as an investor or a person that wants to bring their family here and wants to do in-laws quarters, or even for your grown kids that can't afford to move to California. If you have a property here and want to expand it, there's just more options. And again, this is just going to help our housing shortage, and it's some exciting stuff coming. So let's do a deep dive with this article that reached from the Central Coast, a data-driven company that I love and refer to on the channel very much. Let's dive in and see what they have to say about aerospace here on the Central Coast. All right, and here's number two big change coming to the Central Coast is we're going to have a huge amount of career pathways in the aerospace here on the Central Coast. So let me explain. This is a 1.5 billion, that's with a B, operation here in this region. And this also has 100 companies within this industry, provides over 7,000 opportunities for employment. So if you've been looking to move to the area, or perhaps are already in this arena, or looking to perhaps go into this kind of field, then let's take a look at what the opportunities are in 2025. Thinking about relocating to San Luis Obispo County? Well, I got just the thing for you. My team and I have created the ultimate relocation guide that is meant to save you hours of research, and I've linked it below. From top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other things that you need to know before you make the move. The best thing about this is that it's 100% free. You heard me right. absolutely free. Just click on the link in the description or the top pinned comment. And I really hope this helps you out. So the two neighboring universities, Cal Poly and University of California, Santa Barbara, so they definitely spill over into this environment. So UCSB, with a leading science program, has 17 million in active NASA sponsored research projects. Cal Poly, with the top aerospace engineering program, co-developed the CubeSat mini satellite standard, now used worldwide, and supports NASA Moon and Mars missions. I'm sorry, but I think that's a pretty big deal. And also, this is right in our little area here. So Santa Barbara is, right by the beach. All this is coastal. San Luis is, in San Luis proper for Cal Poly. So these areas are only about an hour and 20 minutes away from each other, and they're creating such amazing things for, aerospace. So this is right here at your fingertips on the Central Coast. So the rich ecosystem is fueling the future of air mobility, from high power sensing equipment and lightweight components to electric air taxis and next gen drones. So this is a big deal here on the Central Coast, and it's going to be available, and definitely a huge change over here in 2025. Okay, so coming in at number 3 is we have an increased residential building activity. So new construction is up and down the Central Coast. And whether you like it or not, with our new administration coming in 2025, that person is very development friendly. So we're probably going to see a little bit more movement in that arena in 2025. So we need that for the affordability shortage that we have. And just we're short on homes with all the buyer needs. If the rates go down, we will probably see more activity in the market. So right now, if you are driving up the Central Coast, up or down on Highway 101, you will notice that there is new construction going all around. So there is developments all the way from Monterey County all the way to Ventura County. And in our specific area in San Luis Obispo County, we do have a growth ordinance. However, there are some smaller contractors that are building new construction. So again, this is where you need to reach out to a local real estate broker, because not everything is on the websites that say that they have all of the new construction information. So, get a relationship with somebody. I mean, I've sold 6 lots to a small developer, and he's building $2 million homes on those. And I knew about that, a year in advance. So work with a local real estate broker that's boots on the ground and really involved with the community and knows what's going on. So this is exciting that we're getting new inventory, and there's more activity in the residential arena, along with the ADUs that I mentioned earlier. This is all encompassing and really going to make a big impact on our shortage of housing here on the Central Coast. All right, here's number 4, another big one. There is a clean energy boom on the Central Coast, and there's going to be 26 ports by 2045. Yeah, that's a long way off, but let's take a look at what it's going to take. So as you can see on the article here, there is projected 26 ports all the way from Humboldt and the Central Coast of California, which is where I'm at. So the new state plan sets the path for harnessing wind power from hundreds of giant turbines, each as tall as 70-story buildings floating in the ocean about 20 miles off Humboldt Bay and Morro Bay. Morro Bay does have an abandoned pipes there, and you can see those from Highway 101. The untapped energy is expected to become a major power source as California electrifies vehicles and switches to clean energy. Now for the question of the day. For those of you that are thinking of moving to San Luis Obispo County, where are you moving from? What city or state? And what's the main reason that you're looking to move to San Luis Obispo County? I'm truly curious. I want to know your particulars. And if you wouldn't mind just leaving them in the comments below, or better yet, feel free to text, email, or call. My contact information should be on the screen. So the public, always has a little bit of pushback when there's big changes like this, especially with such urgency. So we'll see how this plans out, but obviously this is projected to be an ongoing thing until 2045 before all the ports are established throughout the Central Coast. But this is a big change as California in general is trying to conserve energy throughout the state. The Energy Commission's plan estimates that just the work to upgrade California's ports will cost 11 to 12 billion, much of it publicly funded. So the plan identifies the large ports of Humboldt, Long Beach, and Los Angeles as viable for storing, staging, and assembling parts needed for offshore wind operations. So by 2045, 16 large and 10 small ports will be needed along California's coast for various aspects of development and support according to the plan. So what I see here are more jobs along, within this industry. I see more energy being saved for the state of California and especially on the Central Coast. And it's something that it's a concern in all of the states with energy. How do we conserve it? So this could be a plan if we understand it and embrace it, but it's coming, and this is a big change on the Central Coast. So number 5 is kind of a big one. There's some projected items that are going to be talked about in this segment, which is the challenges that the Central Coast California is going to face in the climate arena in 2025 and beyond. So we're going to look at some categories that we're addressing here on the Central Coast and the challenges that we're having. So the first one is the sea level rising. So we have had an increase of 1.3 inches since 1990, and these are global sea levels, and they're doubling the century rate by the next century. So by 2050, disadvantaged communities that are in flood zones will have a harder time to relocate, and this is projected over a span of time. We're in 2025 next year, but this is increasing year after year. So sea levels are a challenge on the Central Coast. So on the flip side, we're not rising so much as because we don't have as much rain because of our droughts. So not sure how much this could be off. We've had some heavy rains throughout California in the last 5 years, especially in the last 3 years. We had a very, very heavy rainfall. So we'll see where this takes us, but this is something for you to take note of. The next bullet point we have here of a challenge is going to be extreme weather events. El Nino events such as the 2015 event, the strongest in 145 years, caused an average of 45.7 meter beach erosion in Central California. A potential 100-year flood could impact low-income renters, with studies projecting impacts in the near term, studies up to 2050. So again, just because we had that in 2015, that impacted, I remember that took bridges down in Arroyo Grande. We did have those heavy rains a few years back, and that can happen, but they come with years in between. However, that is something that we do face here on the Central Coast. So another thing that's coming up and is a concern is agriculture and water concerns. The Central Coast is very well known for its farmers markets, all its produce. You have your produce at your fingertips no matter where you land within the Central Coast, each region having their specific fruit, vegetable, produce that they produce throughout the whole United States. So we are a big, big factor in that arena. So I'm going to talk about what our challenges are there. Seawater intrusion in Salinas Valley is already occurring, with studies reporting contaminated water due to pesticide use and sanitation. Also, severe drought between 2014 and 2015 cost California over $2.2 billion in lost crops and 17,000 agricultural jobs. Hey guys, it's me, Vernice, and as much as I like making these videos for you, there's one thing that I love more, and that's helping families move to San Luis Obispo County from the US and all over the world. And I've helped countless families move over here. So whether it's in a week, in a month, 6 months, or a year, please feel free to reach out. My contact information is right here on the screen or linked below, just in case you missed the pop-up on the screen. I look forward to helping you and your family move to San Luis Obispo County. Now, with that being said, there has been an uptick in employment in agriculture. We're up and running again. Water is always an issue in California. because we're groundwater, and that gets impacted with the rains and overflow and lack of rain. So this is a concern for our area. This is a challenge, and this is a big change, this whole climate arena. Just things for you to really have your radar on as you're exploring the Central Coast and what county you're thinking about landing in. So now we have wildfires and post-fire effects. So insurance is getting a little bit tricky around California when you're purchasing a home. So you need to take note of certain areas that are more susceptible to fires and have a good insurance agent, have a good real estate broker that can help you with that. But let's take a deep dive of what's being affected. Wildfires are worsening, with 2017 Thomas Fire burning nearly 3,000 acres in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, and the 2021 Aliso Fire burning 17,000 acres in Santa Barbara County. Landslides following the 2020 Dolan Fire damaged a stretch of Highway 1 in February 2021, with repairs costing $11.5 million. So what's going to happen in 2025 is that insurance policies are going to be very meticulous at checking out where you are in a flood zone or a fire zone. So in 2025, that's a change that's really going to take into effect. It already has in 2024, but be cautious of that when you're relocating to any place within California, especially from another state. If you're not familiar, get a good insurance agent under your belt. It's good to call your current insurance agent to get a policy in place, because you can bundle it with automobiles, boats, toys, home, all the things, and you can get a better pricing. And some particular insurance companies aren't even providing policies. So this is a big thing with all the buyers that I've helped this year. That's the first thing that we start dialing in as soon as we go into escrow, and sometimes even before. Climate change impacts will unfortunately impact lower affordable communities rather than the wealthier communities, the coastal communities on the Central Coast, just because of where they're located within the topography in those particular regions. So when you're looking for property, take that into consideration. Are you in a flood zone, fire zone? Has something happened in the past? Do some research. Google is fantastic, but you do get reports when you're checking out properties, and no matter what county you're going to be residing in. But also take note that rising temperature, air pollution, coastal flooding will primarily impact the lower income communities, and also our older residents in low-lying housing who unfortunately have limited resources to relocate, which unfortunately really hurts our affordable housing market crisis currently on the Central Coast. So this last bit was a little bit heavy. It is a thing here in our area on the Central Coast with our climate. So I hope these things helped you kind of figure out what is coming up, what big changes are coming up here on the Central Coast in 2025. And then we'll see you on the next video.